Hello, hello. Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmie from Emmie Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. All right, let's get started. Doing a reading for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Also for your cross watchers. Also for those of us who find ourselves on this live stream, on this video. Without any Piscean anything, you're probably an empath and you're probably needing messages from your higher self. Okay. So I asked what this reading was going to be about, and what did I hear? Maybe it's time for your happiness. For your happiness. Shield myself from the bullshit of today. And we're going to do it like this. Okay. We just get this little piece of lint off. All right. Here goes. Some of that. Some of this. That. And then I'll do this one. All right, guys. I feel like we've gotten to a point where the whole martyrdom is just not cute anymore. Maybe we're not getting what we need from that martyrdom approach. And good. It's time for that to end. It's time for that to be done. And so it's going to be done. All right. Oh, that's a lot of cards. Let's put some back. Didn't realize how many. Okay. Ooh. Spring in reverse. I'm wondering if we need to understand that as long as we continue down the path that we're currently on, that's what's going to happen. Spring is going to arrive, and you're gonna experience spring in an upside down state. Okay. It's really, really time for you to begin whatever process you're in, and be fully present in that. Okay. Ooh, Michael's saying something about like, let other people experience their experience based on the terms that they set for themselves. So it's like you can't prevent someone from what they're going to experience, because that's really not your place to. I mean, that's the reality of it. It's not your place to try and, save someone else from whatever their experience is going to be. That's highly contingent on what they choose for themselves. He says the connectivity is the connectivity with someone, something, that it needs to be allowed. Not necessarily like a romantic connection, but just some type of connectivity. It needs to be allowed so that way you can finally finish off whatever process you were needing to finish off. So imagination in reverse, like too much attempt to be logical, too much logic for an empath or a Piscean skews you. It causes you to kind of veer off the path that you're supposed to be on, because reality of Pisceans and empaths, we don't really vibe with logic too much. Whenever we try and make logical decisions, we have a tendency to really mess ourselves up, to really, really make decisions that are not in alignment with what you need. Logic was telling me that I had no reason to be stressed out and feel yucky about interactions with a specific person. And yeah, it didn't take long. It took less than a month. Less than a month for me to be like, that's why this person is disgusting. Disgusting. So, logically, there was no reason for me to feel that way, to see it that way. It was illogical of me to have that type of feeling. But really, the feeling is what was guiding me, right? And because I ignored that feeling, it really greatly affected my happiness, my personal happiness. Ugh, not bringing into form the things that we need, the situations, connections, opportunities, all of that good stuff. We keep blocking our own abundance. We keep blocking our own process. And a lot of this, oh shit. Sorry. A lot of the blocking has to do with our refusal to allow ourselves to receive. When we don't allow ourselves to receive the things that we need to receive, what happens? Does someone else get that? I know that's a lot of our logical thoughts is like, well, if I don't allow myself to receive, someone else who needs it more than me will receive it. And, I've said this, my co host for the podcast said this at the last podcast, where it's like, I'm going to be fine. Other people need it more. Like, I always end up fine. It always manages to work out for me. So I don't need to allow myself to receive. But here's the thing, whatever is meant for you is for you. There's not going to magically be someone else who that belongs to. The support, the love, the encouragement, that belongs to you. When it's being given to you, it's for you. It's like saying, no, heart, please stop pumping. Someone else needs my heart more than me. Really? What? Really? Someone else? That makes no sense. That makes zero sense. And we have to stop being the very people who are trying to convince ourselves of this, like, no. No. No one else needs what's rightfully yours more than you. And what's rightfully yours, really, that's up to your higher self. It's really, really up to your higher self, because it's not for you to begin like dictating to your own soul that it got things wrong, that it miscalculated. You really don't know where your life is headed. You don't. Your soul knows more than you. And when you try and control too much, you're blocking it. You're blocking what your soul is providing you. Your soul is trying to provide you stability. It's trying to give you a little bit of a boost, a pick me up, to try and get you to better understand some of the things that maybe your ass needs to understand. You don't always have to be without just because someone else is without. Okay? You just don't. You don't. Masculine. What's the message there? I totally just shut that down. Uh, I don't know. I don't know what the message is. Responsibility. You have to take responsibility for where your life has gone. And a lot of where your life has gone is contingent or based upon, dictated by your refusal to receive certain things that you were needing to receive. I feel like for some of us, we're needing a lot of help right now. And the help that we're needing, we're totally, totally pushing it away. We're totally pushing it away. We're totally like, no, no. I mean, I'll be okay for another week or two. Oh no, I have people who care about me. I don't need any more people to care about me. Oh, I don't want to be an inconvenience to people. Oh, I don't want to this. I don't want to that. Why? Why don't you want any of those things? And then, secondly, what if it has nothing to do with what you want and instead taps directly into the core of what you need? You ever seen a child who looks exhausted? Like, clearly, they need a nap, right? They've lost control. They need a nap, and they don't wanna take a nap. And then you're telling this child, like, "You're tired. You need to rest." And the child's like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not." then why the fuck you crying? I'm just saying, why the fuck you crying? What the fuck is actually wrong that you're acting this way? Because if nothing's wrong, why the fuck you acting this way? I mean, granted, you shouldn't talk to children like that, you know? But that's very, like, very much in alignment with how we handle ourselves in our lives. You know, we're having that, like, very, very childish, um, a little bit of a tantrum, you know what I'm saying? Like, "I don't wanna." It's not about what you want all the time. Oftentimes, it's about what you actually need, and if you need reconnection, at the very least energetically, then that's what you need to allow. You need to allow it, because if you're not gonna allow it, then stop whining about not being happy. It's harsh. That's a harsh thing for me to say, but, yeah, knock it off. Knock it off, just knock it off. Okay. Cleansing, water. You need to wash away whatever this is. Whatever this self-doubt, this thing of, like, you don't deserve, this apology for being born, like, I'm irritating myself. This is irritating me. This whole concept of needing to be sorry that you exist. It irritates me because I sometimes find myself reverting back to that. Yeah. And why do we do that? Why do we do that? Why do we have to be sorry that we exist? Why do we have to be sorry, um, for having some sort of need? I really truly feel like most empaths, not all, but most, came into this life to learn how to receive, to take your ability and willingness to receive and embrace who you are, to a much deeper level. I feel like many, many, many empaths and Pisceans, especially Pisceans. Yeah, especially Pisceans. Spirit initiation. We're in this cycle of initiation. I tell you, if you're not going to do the work to find yourself worthy, not anyone else finding you worthy, but you finding yourself worthy, you're going to repeat this cycle again. And when you repeat it again, it's going to be worse and worse and worse every single time. Just worse and worse and worse every single time. You're dedicated to everything except your own growth, your own internal peace. Okay. Card number 24, new birth guarded vigilantly. It's time for you to really protect yourself from your own thoughts. Protect yourself from your own process. For a lot of us, the process that we're in has a lot to do with not allowing ourselves to be who we are, first and foremost. Secondly, allowing ourselves to be so mean to ourselves. So mean to ourselves. What is your goal when you do that? What are you trying to achieve when you do that? Can we just, like, pause really quick? Like, what is the objective when we start having these types of conversations with ourselves? Is it because you're out of control and you're now actually literally harming someone else, your existence? Um, are you, like, self-destructive? Do you self-sabotage and there's someone else that's counting on you? And that self-sabotage cycle is going to affect their livelihood, their internal peace, their family life. Like, what is it? What's the end goal outside of making yourself feel like shit? What is the end goal? Is it to encourage yourself? Because if that's the goal, um, if the goal of that behavior is to find a healthier way, a more powerful way to exist, you're fucking failing at it. You're failing at it. All you're doing is making yourself feel worse about yourself. Now, you notice how me putting it in those terms makes you feel even worse, right? Did that help you any? No, it didn't. So then why do we think talking to ourselves in that way is acceptable as a form of self-love and self-encouragement, self-empowerment, self-realization, self-actualization? I know I'm not the only one that talks to myself in that way. I know I'm not. Yes, I talk to myself like that a lot less these days. But every once in a while, I do still come to the realization that I'm talking to myself like that again. And it's usually not achieving anything for me. It's not furthering my process of self love, self acceptance, self yada, yada, yada. I can't tell who's saying what, so not used to hearing things. So used to not listening to yourself speak that you don't even know who's speaking. That's what I'm reading. Right. Paint over that ugliness. Absolutely. This is not about lying to yourself and pretending. This is about really allowing yourself to speak truth to yourself. Like, I saw this video of this girl. She had like a black eye. She looked like she was in a really bad place within her life. And she starts singing along to this song. I am woman. I am papa. It's a beautiful song. The video started playing, and then I went to go do something really quick. And I could hear the music still playing. And then when I got back to my phone and I looked at it, she was crying. She was crying so hard. Mm. And that was her trying so hard to convince herself that the words in that particular song are true for her, and she just didn't believe it. Why is it so easy for us to believe the lies that people tell us about ourselves? Because they need us to play a specific part, specific role, but we can't allow ourselves to hear the truth of who we actually are. Who are you? And what do you truly believe? I remember in 8th grade, because I went to private school, my 8th grade teacher, it always stuck with me. If anyone who is non-Catholic asks you what you believe, you begin reciting the Apostles' Creed, because the assignment for that day, for that class, theology, was to memorize the Apostles' Creed. I believe in one God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth, and in Jesus Christ, his only son. Like, do I actually believe that? Or am I told that that's what I'm supposed to believe? The beautiful thing is, as I began to think for myself, what was indoctrinated into me has started to fade away. So let me see. I believe in God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth, and in Jesus Christ, his only Son, our Lord, who was conceived by the Holy Spirit, born of the Virgin Mary, suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, died, and was buried. On the third day, he rose again from the dead. Ah. And it's like having to look it up in order to jog my memory about what I was told to believe. Really, do we do that? Do we seek out the people who will jog our memory in regards to what we are told to believe about ourselves, not just about religion? And this is not me trying to say that Jesus never existed and I don't believe in this and I don't believe in that. Um, this is me using my upbringing as kind of like an analogy for how we're raising ourselves, how we are allowing ourselves to go through life in the very same way we went through childhood, letting other people think for us and telling us what to think for ourselves. You're never going to be free if that's what you subscribe to. You just aren't. No, you don't understand. I don't need to understand. I really don't. I don't need to understand. I don't need to know. I just need to allow. I need to allow myself to go through whatever process I'm in. And then that's just going to be that. Spirals of manifestation, allowing yourself to recognize these spirals, Christic spirals. They're what allows for the rising and deepening of your understanding of yourself and your soul, your process. When you allow, beautiful, powerful, reunifying things can happen for you within your personal life and for you with other people, your connections with other people. When you allow your personal peace to return back to you, then that's what comes back to you, your personal peace. This is not something else that's going to come back to you. It's your personal peace that comes back to you. Your peace is not someone else. Home is not someone else. It exists within you. In your most natural state, you are peace. That's not true, Emmie, because when I'm in my natural state, I'm so sad. Yeah, you're sad because you're not in your natural state. You're still trying to play a role that someone else recruited you for. You're trying to play a role for someone else. And maybe that person is no longer in your life, but the effects of their once upon a time existence within your life is still affecting you. You know what? I think mental and emotional, ABUSE is worse than physical. I mean, they're all bad. Trust me, they're all bad. But I really truly feel like emotional and mental is worse because that sticks with you. The person could be gone. They could already be gone. But if you don't do the work to address the emotions and the mental that occurred under their rule, that's going to continue. That's going to continue for you. Either you'll look for other people who will continue the same cycles, or you're just going to withdraw and have this internal prison. Neither is acceptable for someone as beautiful as you. Neither is acceptable. Neither is not worthy of the amazingness that you actually are. And if I can feel this about you, I mean, why can't you allow that in? Why can't you allow those types of words in? Where it sounds beautiful, but it can't possibly be about me or for me. It's for someone else because this is a general reading. But you can accept the words that I say that really tear you down, that really, really paint you in a bad light. Like you'd be like, oh, yeah, no, that's totally me. But the moment I begin talking about you're a beautiful being, you deserve peace. You are worthy of other people's support. Like, oh my God, that's so sweet for other people. No, It also applies to you. It really truly does. You don't allow yourself to be inspired anymore by your life. Why is that? Because you're protecting yourself from yourself. You're protecting yourself from yourself. We all deserve peace. We all are peace. We deserve ourselves and our return back home. We are our peace. And the more you deny who you are for yourself, with yourself, to yourself, the less peace you will have. The more you deny what you need, the less you communicate your truth, the more disharmonic your life will become, the less peace you will have. No. If a war will be fought, it will be outside of me, not within my castle walls. No. No more. I will no longer maintain an external fake peace in exchange for an internal war and utter destruction. No. No. No more. You want to start shit? We'll do shit. Like that song. Don't start no shit, won't be no shit. Don't start no shit, won't be no shit. I'm just saying, leave me in my peace. For real. Leave me in my peace. I am content there. And that's the thing. Sometimes we don't have peace because we become too content. And so life will allow us to experience non-peaceful things so that we can reach higher levels of internal peace through the addressing of what life has brought us. It's okay. The goal is not necessarily to never have any experiences that lack peace. The goal is to allow yourself to truly live and be truly present within your life as you experience the experiences that give you the experience to experience more experiences. Because what you experience is really preparing you for the next experience, right? What you experience is really preparing you for the next experience. So then why are you not trying to experience things? And then you're wondering how come life hasn't prepared you for the next part. Did it blindside you or were you covering your eyes? Did it blindside you or were you covering your eyes? And to the person that's like, this is totally victim shaming. No, the problem is not victim shaming because this is not victim shaming. The problem is you don't want to be held accountable for the bullshit you've decided for yourself. No one's responsible for that but you. When you continuously decide to choose bullshit and then you get upset that that's what keeps being delivered to your house is bullshit, then I'd like to tell you that you're full of bullshit at this point. That's okay. Bulls shit vegan poop. Beautiful, partially processed compost. You can use that as fertilizer. Mm-hmm. And maybe when we've become so full of bullshit in our lives, that's an indication for you to begin recognizing it's time to learn how to farm, cultivate it, cultivate it. Allow yourself to cultivate the gardens within your heart and your mind. Cultivate it. You're responsible for your life. No one else is responsible for you. And really, flat out honesty, if you can come to a reading like this and still feel like you're being victimized and it's a general reading, me speaking to a little tiny camera hole on my laptop, yet you feel personally attacked, the problem is potentially you. The fact that you refuse to take responsibility for any component of your life is your issue. That you can think that someone who doesn't even know you are watching is personally attacking you. No one's attacking you but your own cognitive dissonance. The most powerful thing I've ever done for myself in my life is to recognize how I chose things that led to the results that I lived through. There is no shame in that, and I am not a victim. So there's no victim shaming going on. And maybe it's time to consider that the study of the human psychology is the study of disease. And that a lot of the shit that we tap into psychology for is our way of trying to quantify how diseased we actually are. I'm not diseased. I may have some imbalances that I'm working on. Whether that imbalance is psychological, emotional, energetic, physiological, anatomical, whatever it is, I'm going to work on it. And pretending it doesn't exist so that I can be nicer to myself is the meanest fucking thing I could ever do to myself. Separation between yourself and your truth is a violent act. Is a violent act. Any form of separation is violence. When you separate a mother from her child through birth, that's a violent process. You're basically destroying the mother's body. Yes, it will reheal. It will fix itself. You're squeezing the shit out of the baby. That's violent. The baby is being evicted in a violent manner. Any form of separation is a form of violence. When you begin to separate yourself from your truth, you are committing a violent act against yourself and your soul. One more thing to feel guilty about, right? One more thing to feel guilty about, but maybe we don't need to feel guilty about anything. Maybe we need to just kind of allow ourselves to live, to exist, to experience the thoughts and the processes that come as a result of those thoughts, and um, allow ourselves to grow, allow ourselves to mature in our process. You know, when you plant a seed, it has to have reached a certain level of maturity before it can be transplanted into a pot or brought outside. It's something like if you're planting veggies, it has to have grown at least the fourth leaf or something like that. Um, and at that point, it still is very delicate, but it could potentially be um, brought outside already, planted in ground. Um, you're over here barely sprouting one leaf. You're still curled into a little thing. You haven't even stood up yet in your seedling ways, and you're over here like, I need to be buried in the tundra. No, you don't. It's okay to recognize that for your peace, for your happiness, you need to stay indoors for a little bit longer. There's no need to rush. We're so accustomed to rushing through life, through lessons, through experiences. What's that done for you? What's that done for you? Like, so a few weeks ago, sometimes my husband be driving hella crazy. I tell you, I drive crazy sometimes too, but you know. So he was driving super crazy, rushing, cutting people off. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you today? He goes, I'm just rushing. I'm like, what? We have our own schedule. Like, what are you rushing for? What are you rushing for? Well, what's coming up that you need to rush and cut people off? He goes, well, you know, he didn't quite know. And then I think it was like he turned too early. We almost got broadsided by another car. And then I got really mad. I got really, really mad. And so I just like flat out blurted, like, what the fuck happens to our kids when you and I die in a car crash? And that brought it home for him. Like, oh, like for real though. Very legitimate question. Very legitimate question. Like, what the fuck will happen to our kids if you and I are in a fatal car crash because you're fucking rushing for what? For what? If we're late, then we're late. There's nothing even to be late for. There's nothing scheduled right now. What happens to our family? See, and that's a lot of what happens within us. We're rushing from one event to another, failing to realize the catastrophic choices we're making. What happens to your inner child when you get into a head-on collision with an event that your inner child is trying to like, hey, you're going too fast. Hey, you're this. Hey, you're that. You know what I mean? Like for us, the gravity of something happening to Frey and I at the same time, like we don't do babysitters. We just don't. We don't do babysitters. We're in a completely different state than we don't know anyone in this state. Like literally what happens to what we created. Life is delicate, you guys. Life is delicate. It's delicate. And when you are with someone um who just keeps like really allowing themselves to get caught up in the rush, the mental rush, rushing, rushing, rushing. I mean, what is one of the potential effects of that for you? Aside from lack of happiness, how does that make you feel? And does that person need to be allowed to remain in your life? You know, like yeah, I put that in a really harsh way after that. I put it in a really, really harsh way because it's like, you have been listening to me for the past couple of days of like me telling you, don't cut people off. Like, first off, if you're in an area that's a rougher neighborhood and you cut someone off and like you can tell there's gangbangers in that neighborhood, like that's a potential shootout for real. That's kind of just where the world is gone. That's a potential type of what the fuck. For real. I remember one time, um, he cut someone off again. And that person, like, he wasn't trying to. The guy just got pissed off. He felt like he got cut off. And so the guy comes to the right lane and I'm in the front passenger seat. Our windows are tinted, pretty dark. Like you can't tell. You just two people is in the car. And this guy is looking over and I'm like, "Do not even look at him. Do not even look at him." I've hung around gangbangers in my earlier life. You can tell. You can tell. And the fact that he's reaching over for something, he's alone in his car. He's reaching over that way towards like, yo, for real, don't even look at him. Don't even look because he's waiting for you to look to initiate violence. Like, for real. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? And what are you willing to go through? What are you willing to go through? Just to prove. Prove what? To prove what? And I legit was like, "I'm not willing to get shot for you." I'm not willing to. I got sessions coming up. I'm not willing to get shot for you. I don't think so. I got appointments coming up and I gotta get to my session. You need to get me back home because I got a session coming up and I'm not trying to get shot before I get home. Like, nope, I don't think so. And that's the thing. It's like if you consistently are in an environment where it's high stress, high this, high that, like, I'm good. I'm for real good. Like when he does things like that, my husband gets us in situations like that, which is not often. I'd be really vocal, like, I'm not fucking riding with you again. Just that's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. Fuck that. I don't want to ride with you. I don't want to sit in a fucking car with you. Your attitudes like that. It's toxic. It's toxic. Fuck that shit. It's okay for you to speak truth. He tells me when I'm being toxic. Mhm. He points out when I'm having attitude. It's a real connection. And that's what creates more peace between us is that we can actually be who we are, have the other one call us out, call whoever out on the bullshit behaviors, and it actually be pulled in, processed, and applied to maintain peace. Do you allow yourself to be in that type of connection where they can call you out on stuff, not just to call you out, but to give you an opportunity to consider, to digest, and to begin implementing changes that will reestablish your personal peace? You can be happy without peace, but it's not going to be sustained long term. When you put peace and happiness together, I'm not willing to be shot for you, sir. I love you too. He knows this shit. These are true stories, yo. I was like, that's a fucking banger, man. Oh my God. May the hood come out of me. he, he finna shoot us. He finna shoot us. Oh my God. Let me stop. Like, when you pair peace with happiness, the happiness can be sustained longer term, less effort. When you try and think that you can have one without the other, you're lying to yourself. It's okay if you want to lie to yourself, but I'm not going to play into your lies. And you can approach life in that way where, people can lie to themselves all they want. That's fine. You don't get a say in that, but you're not going to be a part of that either. You're not going to feed into it. You're not going to this. You're not going to that. You're going to live your life and they're not going to be able to be a part of it. That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. You just can't be part of my life. And there you go. This whole thing of being far too logical and an illogical way. Like the world is very illogical. It just is. It's illogical. When was the last time the world functioned in a logical way? So, example of this type of world. Okay. So, personally, my stance, I'm neither pro-life or anti-life. I'm kind of just like you have to decide for yourself. You have to make an informed decision. And then we have people who are totally like pro-life, like you're a sinner and this and that. Okay, so are you buying diapers? Are you providing childcare? Are you providing aid for groceries? Um, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like, are you? Because you can be super staunch in your beliefs about anything so long as it doesn't affect you, right? So long as it doesn't affect you. For me personally, I don't think I could terminate a life like that. That's for me personally. I'm pretty sure I can't. I think I would be too devastated. Um, and I don't feel like my personal beliefs should be imposed on other people because I'm not you and you're not me. And what I'm capable of is not necessarily what you're capable of. And what you can handle is not necessarily what I can handle. Do you know how many children get abused day to day? You know how many children were devastated when they closed down schools because now the only place they can go to where it's peaceful was school and now they can't even go there? If you're pro-life, where the fuck are you when these kids are struggling like that? Well, that's not your problem, right? And that's the thing. We go through all of these different illogical belief systems and we try and apply it across the board. Why? If you think you're so holy, you eat cow. There's some places in this world that believe cows are sacred, should never be eaten. Do you know farming is very destructive, is violent because you're tilling into the soil? Yeah, you're tilling the soil. So whatever's living underground, closer to the surface, they're being murdered. When they harvest the veggies, they harvest the fields. You ever notice how there's a whole bunch of birds flying around? There's a lot of things that have just died. The world itself is a violent place. I'm not pro violence. But a lot of the things this world is teaching us is illogical, disguised as logic. And then you wonder why you feel so not at home in your life. Are you working a job that makes you feel very, very unsatisfied, unfulfilled with yourself? Are you living a life that makes you feel fulfilled, but everyone's telling you that you're a loser, that you deserve more? Did you just make a decision for yourself only to have other people who don't understand the decision tell you you're better than that? What? Better than myself? Your happiness is about how much you can accept yourself as you are, where you are, when you are. That's what determines your happiness. Your ability to accept yourself within your journey. You're not happy? When was the last time you took the time to begin accepting yourself? When was the last time? When was the last time you allowed yourself to be in a connection that was just very satisfying to you and your soul? Not because you're obligated to, not because you have this and that and all these other reasons that are logical. How many of us, actually, how many of you, I'm not part of that, how many of us are in relationships, but we're looking at other people? How many of us? And be honest. So if you're really truly satisfied in your relationship, why are you considering someone else? Why? How many of us get into relationships because of physical attraction? Because, well, they got a six pack and they're. Yeah. What's their personality like? Well, they're kind of annoying, but oh my God, they're so hot. Good. Let's see how that works out. Let's see how that works out for you. Let's see how long that lasts. And then you wonder, how come it didn't work? Well, I mean, you were just going for the aesthetics though, right? So there's a likelihood they were probably going through the aesthetics as well. That's what they were going for. And their aesthetic preference changed. Aesthetic is aesthetic, it changes. But when you actually take the time to invest in a true connection that really has nothing to do with appearances, has everything to do with that level of potential connectivity and the effort you place into cultivating that connectivity. The potential there is limitless, it's endless. You can have acreage, acres upon acres for your property. But if you don't take the time and the effort to cultivate that land, to first prepare it, and then to sow the seeds and sustain those seeds, really like maintain them, nothing's going to come of that land. Nothing is going to come of that land. The only thing that will grow are the weeds. That's it. And probably not even edible weeds. So what are you really trying to accomplish? You purchased all this property, right? All this land, and what are you gonna do with it? We stayed at a few farms. This one farm had several acres, and it was already set up for chickens and ducks and goats, and, area like, a lot of land to farm in. That was the whole point, like, "Oh, we can grow all kind of stuff and have all these animals and be a homestead." You know what we did? You know what we did? We went ahead and got side by sides for the kids. We got side by sides for the kids, and we turned this potential homestead into a backyard side by side course. Looking back, that was so asinine. Looking back, it was so asinine, but you got me up on a mountaintop, literally in the middle of nowhere, and my kids are bored. So we made an entire driving course, complete with some old tires to kind of go around and yeah, it was like in real life Mario Kart. I think that's my most favorite property we've ever been at. But it was such an irresponsible use of that property. But here's the thing. Here's the kicker, right? We already knew we weren't going to stay there long term because we never really stay at a place long term. That's why I didn't bother. I didn't bother. I didn't bother putting effort into the land. I knew I wasn't going to be there long term. The place that we're at, yeah, I created a little veggie patch. It's a little makeshift veggie patch. I'm not going to dig into the ground deep and put posts that can withstand the test of time and actually invest in all sorts of metal fencing and digging on. No, like I could leave at any point. I put several inches of compost above the topsoil. I didn't even till into the ground. I put it on top of the topsoil. It's kind of like a raised bed. And if we have to leave, I can absolutely dig out each little plot for each little plant and put them back in planters. I can still continue to grow my veggie patch. But here's the thing, at what point do you get tired of moving around? At what point do you want to grow some roots and really stay and establish this place of peace? A place that you can work on consistently and actually feel like this is home. Have you felt home before? Or have you felt people just barely tolerating you? Do you just feel tolerated by your environment, tolerated in your relationship? Because that's not a fun place to be within yourself. It's just not. It's not. One of the healthiest places I've ever existed is within my marriage. Why? Because my husband is crazy enough to celebrate me, and no matter what attitude I have that day. No matter what attitude I have that day, this man just celebrates me. It's fucking weird to me. But at the same time, he's been doing this for so long, like genuinely just celebrating me, that it's becoming our norm. And we've been together over 20 years. Like, it's becoming our norm, and it's kind of like, he's fucking weird. I don't know. He celebrates me. That's crazy. Empress, please. Not queen, empress. You know what I mean? It's like Are we happy with just being tolerated? Are you just tolerating yourself? Or are you finally entering into this place where you are ready to begin celebrating yourself and who you are? And, you know, and no, we don't all get so lucky that we can be paired with someone from very early in life and that person has enough ability and willingness to celebrate you right from the start. No, we don't all get lucky like that. But here's the thing, life will give you everything that you need, because I'm incapable of learning this stuff without someone guiding me through it when it comes to self love. I needed to have someone right from the start. And let me tell you, I didn't want someone right from the start. I didn't want someone teaching me this because I thought it was all bullshit. And did he put effort into teaching me this? Or was all his effort into just holding space and loving me? Because you can't love someone into wholeness. It's only within the past couple years that I've begun the process of really becoming whole within myself. And I've been with this man for, we're approaching half my life at this point. Half my life. And it's only within the last few years that I'm actually understanding what process I'm in. Years ago, I got told I wasn't a good friend, and all the reasons, no matter the truth or lies, in that I wasn't being a good friend to myself. So I thank them for showing me I wasn't prioritizing myself. Yep, absolutely. When you know you do so much for someone and that someone turns around and lets you know that you're not doing enough, that absolutely tells me only one thing. You're an ungrateful motherfucker and you don't deserve to be in my life. Thank you for showing me. Good riddance. Ta-da! Yep. Yep. That's all that tells me. And if that's all that tells you, they need to be allowed to leave. Come to life, but not a life that's upside down. You have to write yourself back up. You have to stop allowing snakes into your garden. You have to stop allowing the monkeys to convince you to paint a sweeter picture than what it really is. You have to see the places in which you're growing. The little cracks that you thought were cracks and fractures, that's where your growth is allowed to escape. That's where your growth is allowed to be witnessed. Allowed to be witnessed. Yes, that makes sense. These people who tell you everything has to be lined up so perfectly and no space between the cracks because aesthetics, they're full of shit. They're full of shit. Their advice is like the advice that you're given to create um, a beautifully designed home, beautifully um, decorated, but you're not allowed to touch anything. Y'all who are in my age range, especially my Asian people, do you remember growing up and the couch was covered in plastic? And then the remote control is in a Ziploc bag and you're not allowed to take it out of the Ziploc bag? Like, you're not allowed to sit, like, there's this room that has the formal furniture, and you're not allowed to sit in there, ever. My mother always told me I never did enough for her, and whatever I did was yesterday, and that didn't count for today. She always said it was her birthday and not mine because she's the one that gave birth, although she was the one that was my responsibility. I wasted decades until I learned how to break the spell she put on me, and then I was able to have children. Mm, mm. So these things that people have done to us and forced upon us as children, as young adults, as adults, still till now, if it still makes you mad, you're not dealing with it. If it still makes you mad, you haven't healed it. I can share a lot of the toxic things that my mom used to say and do, and now I laugh about it because that's just fucking hilarious to me. It's hilarious to me now. Like before, it used to piss me the fuck off so bad. So bad. Like, who the fuck says this kind of shit to their kid? And then once I became powerful within my own life, within my own right, because I decided to finally be powerful, um, my feeling about it changed, it shifted. And that's why I can talk about it. Like, it doesn't necessarily still hurt me. It helps me to kind of see how far I've come and how much I've healed. I'm no longer upset by those things because I realize no one ever really had the power to make me feel something outside of what I chose to feel. You know, I still distinctly remember we were walking through the parking lot of my condominium, my condo, that development, and my mom was walking with me and she says to me, like, she'll take me to the Philippines. She'll take me to the Philippines, and if I decide to go, uh, she'll pay for my facial plastic surgery. What? Yeah. She said she would pay for my plastic surgery because I needed to get my nose fixed because it's not Anglo like hers. I don't need to get my nose fixed. And then she didn't like that I have a receding jawline. Like, it's yeah. Um Boo. What the fuck you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? There's nothing wrong with my face. There's nothing wrong with my face. And I think, honestly, part of my decision to not ever get work done on my face or my body has a lot to do with that. Like, no, there's literally nothing wrong with me. I have zero plans of ever getting any injectables, um any Botox or anything like that. Like, no, I'm just going to really love on my skin and myself. And that's just kind of how it's going to be. That's just how it's going to be. And that's the thing. A lot of what I've been through, and she wasn't necessarily being intentionally malicious. She just, she says a lot of shit. She just says a lot of shit to everybody. But that's the thing. That helped me to really take a moment, like really take a moment to help myself get to this point where it's like, there's nothing wrong with me at all. There's nothing wrong with my face at all. At all. My face is the way it is, and that's how it's going to be. And it's going to go through the processes and age and whatnot, and that's fine. That's fine. I'm happy with myself. I'm just happy with myself. When was the last time you allowed the situations that you're in to get you to the point where you are just like, fuck it, I'm happy with myself? Because I think, honestly, all the way up to that point, I maybe would have considered getting plastic surgery. I maybe would have considered it. But the moment it came out of her mouth in that way, fuck that. I don't fucking think so. And I look just like my mom. Homie. Yeah, no, I literally, I look very much like her. I just have a different nose. Yeah. It's just like, boo, I look just like you. Whatever. Other people's struggles, let that be their struggles. Let that be about them and what they're dealing with. Nothing to do with you. It's got nothing to do with you. Allow yourself to receive these situations in the healthiest way possible. And if you can't receive it in a healthy way, they need to be gone. I would go long stretches without talking to family. If they got too toxic with me, I would go long stretches. I would go very long stretches. Yep. Very long stretches. Because no, you can just talk shit about me without me there. That's fine. I don't need to be there. Go talk your shit. I don't care. Talk your shit because that's who you are. You're a shit talker. You go ahead and be you. I'm just not going to be there. No, I'm not just going to not answer your call. I'm going to legit disconnect that phone number. I'm fully capable. I'll disconnect the phone number. I'll delete the email address. I'll delete the social media. I'll create a whole new social media with a whole new name, no similar friends, because fuck that shit. No, you can be toxic without me. But I mean, you can't. Oh, I can do whatever the hell I decide to do. So can you. So you're saying I can just cut people out? Yeah. And then they're not going to be there. So that means, like, if you want to cut people out, you actually can, but you can't then expect them to want to long for you. You see, you can't have it both ways. If you're going to make decisions as a way to punish other people, you're really just going to punish yourself. You know what it feels like to cut someone off because you think they're going to chase after you and beg you, and then they don't? I don't know what that feels like because I don't stick around to find out. If I cut you off, I've already made a decision. I've made a determination based on a prolonged period of observation and contemplation. You're toxic for me and you need to be removed from my life. It's not some like, no. Once I decide that, that's it for you. That's it for you. I'm not going to, so I'm going to cut you off if you, no, I'm just going to be like, oh, disconnect, delete account, delete account, delete account. New life. Make decisions for you. Don't make decisions as like, I'm going to decide this and they're going to be sorry. No, I no longer care if you're sorry. I no longer care if you miss me, if you think of me, if you this, if you that. When I walk away, it's because I've determined you are very unhealthy for me. I broke up with someone recently. I made a decision to break up with sugar. Yeah, you see this cup? It's black coffee with milk. Almond milk. And that's it. No syrups, no flavorings, no nothing, no sugar. You guys have been seeing me drink coffee. It's black coffee with unsweetened milk alternative. I don't need to have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. No. 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 Just a little bit of soda. No. 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 It's a full breakup. I'm just breaking up with you. I don't like you no more. You make me feel sick, sugar. Yo, wide ass sweetness. Toxic as fuck. Yeah, no, seriously, my body does not like sugar. It doesn't. That motherfucker's been hurting my feelings and my body for some time now. Am I enjoying the taste? I'm enjoying not feeling like I'm a fucking pass out. I have diabetes. I never went away after my youngest. It was gestational. Like all of my pregnancies were gestational diabetes. And then it would usually resolve after I give birth. And it's just one of those things like it never resolved. So I have just, no, not gestational. I have diabetes. It's diet controlled, but in the past like month, I went for real overboard. And then I developed pericarditis. So that's why I'm like, bitch, you just fucking toxic. I don't need no more. Yeah, I don't need no more. I'm fucking good. I'm good. Me and my cardiac shit is good off you. So, yeah, see, the more you try and swim with these fuckers up here, just think of Finding Nemo. Think of Finding Nemo, 52 Wallaby Way. Hello? Hello? So think of Finding Nemo. Mine. No, I'm not yours. Go deeper than what the seagulls can reach. And then whatever they're saying at the surface, you'll no longer hear. And that's that. See, okay. Unicorn Fish says, was just having this convo with myself regarding sugar. I go days without them, binge, so painful and destructive. So I have zero makeup on. I barely put minimal moisturizer. Is my skin, because I was starting to see like signs of aging. I was looking a little like rode real hard, put up wet kind of look. Does it look like I'm starting to reverse some of that aging? Let me just fix my brows. Okay, I have like literally no makeup on. None. Again, I don't do any injectables. I'm over 40. I'm pushing mid 40s. Okay, I have hella fucking kids. I barely sleep. I've been sleeping a lot lately though. you know a lot of, because people often ask me like what do I do for this and that. My skin always looks pretty healthy. It doesn't look healthy when I eat corn and when I eat sugar. The more corn I eat, the more it affects my hormones. My boobs get fucking huger. Huger. I begin to stack more fat in certain areas, and I feel sick. When I have too much sugar, my face starts to age a lot faster. A lot faster. Like I literally slept maybe 3 hours last night. Yeah. Okay. Sugar is toxic as fuck. So is corn. It's toxic. If I stay off sugar for prolonged periods, oftentimes people will mistake me for being in my early 20s. Once I purge it all out and I maintain that and I don't eat pre-made things and I kind of just eat my fruits, veggies, and meats, like for real, people think I'm in my early 20s. Do I do it because of that? No. I do it because my body feels like I'm in my early 20s. My joints feel healthier. I make decisions based on what makes me feel the healthiest, the most whole. When was the last time you decided something like that? I'm not doing it because it's a fad. It's been a rough few years. It's been a rough, going on 4 years at this point. Very rough. And I've taken my emotions out on my body by eating the very things that are very, very toxic for me. I'm well aware of what my body can handle and what it can't. Tacos, bitch, you're not my fucking friend. Get out of here, you silly ass hoe. Tacos, fuck you, bitch. You not my friend, you fucking horita. Tacos got me fucked up. No more tacos for me. Fucking bitch. When I was eating a shit ton of fresh watermelon, I'd eat the seeds too, just so y'all know. I would eat all the way down to the rind. No pink left, some of the white. Yeah, no, people were mistaking me as my son's older sister. Glutathione. Oh my God. Glutathione. Write that shit down. Glutathione. Glutathione. People, I even had someone, we got into like an intense exchange at Target. He refused to sell me a video game because he thought I was using a fake ID. Motherfucker. You see this big ass human beside me? That's my son. What the fuck? You think I had him when I was 2? Glutathione. Glutathione. I'm just saying, you could get it fresh in your food. Tacos, I can do taco salad as long as there's no cheese, no corn whatsoever, no sauces that have any fucking type of corn in it, no modified food starch because that's fucking corn or patatas. I can't have any of that. I can't have any of that. Figs are really, really good because they help with mental health. They help with serotonin production. I'm growing a fig tree. This baby boo is growing new leaves. At the very top, it was like at the very top. And just like, hi. I was like, it's growing. I was so happy. But figs, yes. I found that the things that I crave are the things I'm deficient in. And when I correct the deficiency by eating copious amounts of the fresh food, not taking supplements, my body will correct itself. My body will correct itself. And I steered away from that type of living when I began to experience toxicity within my environment. Excuse me. When I returned back to California a couple years back, yeah, I wasn't able to filter out that toxicity. I was under a lot of stress. I was doing a lot of stress eating. And, it's taken me a few years to get out of that cycle. Now, am I going to waste my time with attacking myself and my happiness because it took me a few years? Or am I going to see where I'm at right now and like, it took me a few fucking years, but here I am. Here I am. I'm returning back to this place of self-love, of health. And the more I love myself, the more healthy my perception of myself becomes, the more healthy my dietary choices are. And the more healthy that is, the healthier my body will feel. And then eventually it becomes this thing of the health that I feel inside myself will be reflected on my physical body. My physical body. People often ask me, what foundation do you wear? Nothing. I fucking take care of myself. I take care of myself. Ooh, what luminizer are you using? You're glowing. It's called moisturizer. and truth coming through my skin. Luminosity. When you live your truth, you become more luminous. Oh my God, that's what my kids say. I'm sugarfied. I'm sugared out. Like they don't really like, no, one of my kids was, I'm gonna have to talk to him about that sugar addiction. Yeah, no, we have to make decisions. We can't keep attacking ourselves based on past decisions. Oh my God, there was this video. Hold on. I gotta read it to you guys. I can't show you the video. It's just this guy dancing. He's oh, there it is. Oh no, that's not it. Hold on. Let me find it. It's this guy dancing, and what's important is what he's saying as he dances. Okay. So he says, if you keep forcefully attaching yourself to an experience that has already run its course, you'll perpetuate yourself into a cyclical thinking. It's addicting to fall into cycles that you've lived. They're familiar. Regardless if they benefit you or not, at some point you have to ask yourself if what you tie yourself down to is aligned with where you want to go and how you want to feel. Being honest with yourself and facing your own truth takes a ton of courage. Love yourself. Let me read that again. If you keep forcefully attaching yourself to an experience that has already run its course, you'll perpetuate yourself into cyclical suffering. It's addicting to fall into cycles that you've lived. They're familiar. Regardless if they benefit you or not, at some point you have to ask yourself if what you tie yourself down to is aligned with where you want to go and how you want to feel. Being honest with yourself and facing your own truth takes a ton of courage. And that's the thing, when you tie yourself down to these cycles of thoughts, of behavioral patterning, psychological patterning, you can't move because you're tied down. We are animals at the end of the day. A mammal is a mammal is a mammal. When you tie a dog to one place, it becomes territorial. It becomes aggressive. Have you tied yourself to cyclical patterns of being and become territorial? You're so comfortable with that place of toxicity that you would attack anyone that comes to set you free. Not because they mean harm, but simply because the fear of your freedom causes you to bare your fangs and lash out. Because if that's the case, you've lived as your wound for so long that it's become your identity. And I don't blame you for being afraid of the process of healing, because if you identify as the wound, when someone comes bearing the potentiality of helping you to heal beyond that, the wound will no longer exist, and you as you are neither will. You'll no longer exist as that because the wound will have healed. And if that's your fear, I promise you the truth of who you are will still exist. You just won't hurt the way you're accustomed to. Years ago, I realized I had to change my diet because I was exclusively breastfeeding my child who was the most sickest. He was very, very sick. Very, very sick. So I had to modify my diet. No one instructed me to do this. I understand the impact of diet. Food is your medicine. Medicine is your food. It's also your poison if you allow it to be. I'm very familiar with hyperpermeable bowel, gluten intolerance, pancreatic enzyme deficiencies, and all kind of different things. And so I made a decision for my child. For my child. I made that decision. I was his sole source of sustenance, and he needed a chance at living a normal life. And short of the level of suffering my baby was going through, I probably wouldn't have agreed to this. But because he was suffering so much, I made it a point. I made a decision and I modified my diet. The greatest gift is the greatest gift. He comes from me. He shares my genetics. So naturally, whatever he's intolerant of, I probably am as well. I removed everything I thought he would be intolerant to. That left me with maybe like 5 food items, all raw and fresh. That's it. And that's all I ate for quite a few years. I did not know how diseased my body had been for so long. I did not know how much pain I carried day in and day out within my body, how much toxicity. I did not know, despite knowing the gravity of the effect of food on my body. I did not limit my caloric intake. I didn't even count it. I didn't have a specific time that I needed to stop eating. I was not fasting, none of that. I was literally eating all day as much as I wanted to eat. And I can eat a lot, like a lot. I lost 100 pounds in 3 months. No effort, no exercise. 100 pounds. No effort, no exercise. What's that tell me? That I found the magic diet? No. That tells me the weight that I was holding on to, that was evidence of my toxicity. My body didn't like that weight. I'm naturally a small person. But because I had been eating my emotions for so long, my body could not detox itself. A lot of inflammation, a lot of stored adipose tissue to insulate me from the pain of the world. For many people, not all, okay, I can't speak for everyone. For many people, if you are carrying a considerable amount of weight, there's a very high likelihood the weight you're carrying is the way you insulate yourself from a painful environment. You can let that pain go. You can choose to feel happiness instead of eating it. Because I used to eat happiness. Yeah. Am I trying to shame you? Am I trying to tell you you should be a specific size? No, I'm not doing any of that. Like, I don't know what size you're supposed to be. But when you eat things that are toxic for you, that includes the words of other people. Because really, most people who carry some weight, they tend to be shamed and ridiculed by their environment. They tend to really be ridiculed either quietly or outright. Like there was this girl who mentioned she had lost like 130 pounds, 150 pounds, something like that. And for the first time in her life, like family members were inviting her over to their houses. They were like, when she would arrive, everyone was just celebrating her for the first time. And they were like, what do you want to eat today? What do you want me to make you? Whereas before she lost the weight, people are like, are you sure you should be eating that? I mean, haven't you eaten enough? And then the stress of life affected her again. And she gained all the weight back. And now family's treating her the same again. No one invites her to anything. And, it's sad. It's sad. And the moment you begin to empower yourself and seek your happiness out for yourself, no matter what size you are, your need to insulate, your need to eat the emotions, to fill the void that's left from your family's rejection, that will hopefully begin to dissipate. It will hopefully begin to dissipate in a matter of like 3 months. No effort. I went from pretty hefty plus size to the size I was in high school. I didn't realize how skinny I was in high school. Did you have to take a lot of vitamins, minerals, etcetera, because you were No, I didn't, because the foods that I was eating were so nutrient dense. It really covered a lot of what I was needing. Um, I didn't do any supplementation of anything at all, at all. Like, when you eat things that, because I was eating a lot of different fruit, um, most fruits I can have. I just cannot have, banana and yeah, I think just banana. Yeah, I can't do roots, I can't do things that are too starchy. I prefer a lot of cruciferous veggies because that's what my body needs. Um, just all these things that I would crave, healthy things, I would eat that. I would really let my body guide me. Um, I know I was doing a lot of detoxing of myself, a lot of releasing of free radicals because of the detoxing. I converted my metabolic process from the usual glucose based to I entered into ketosis. And I was not restricting or counting my macros. I entered into ketosis because my body naturally runs that way. Watermelon is very high in sugar. It's very, very high in sugar. But here's the thing, it's a natural sugar. The amount of watermelon you need to eat to equal like a soda, fucking A. It's a lot. It's a lot, you know? It's a lot. And a lot of what happened was really just allowing myself to eat what I needed to eat based on what I would want. If it's not fresh and I'm craving it, fuck you, bitch, you out. No, you know? Um, so a lot of times when you are very high frequency, you're just not compatible with a lot of the foods that humans eat, and you're probably like, "I don't get it. Why do you keep emphasizing watermelon?" Well, I was detoxing my body naturally. I wasn't forcing it. I was naturally detoxing from all that stored toxin within my adipose tissues. That stores a lot of toxins, not just your bones or your muscles, a lot of estrogenic, endocrine disrupting type of toxins. And because I had a lot of adipose tissue, there was a lot that was being released as my body was metabolizing the adipose, the fat. So glutathione is quite possibly the most powerful free radical, like neutralizing, detoxing thing you could have. People were talking about NAC, the NAC. That's part of the precursor when your body begins to manufacture glutathione. Like, you can look at all this up. Look all this up, and it's not this magic thing that will cause you to lose weight. I mean, granted, watermelon is primarily liquid, and so you're ingesting a lot of the liquid that you need, so dehydration is kind of mitigated. Secondly, watermelon is a diuretic. It also has some laxative effect if you eat enough of it. Mhm. It's very healthy, especially if you eat into the rind, for blood pressure, cardiovascular health. Not to mention, it contains so much glutathione. That's a massively powerful antioxidant. I was eating my medicine. I was eating my medicine. Ketosis is a beautiful thing. No, I wasn't eating a traditional ketogenic diet. No, at all. At all. I was eating what was appropriate for my body. And the healthier my body became, the happier I became, the more I was able to find my happiness within myself. It's a beautiful thing to begin listening to yourself, not to begin shutting yourself down and shutting yourself up using food, using emotions, using toxic thoughts, toxic behavioral patterns. Um, yeah, if you have growths and things like that, uh, you might want to look into ketosis and ketogenic diets. I found the healthiest for me being extremely high frequency and so intolerant of so many foods because of my resting frequency. A hybridized diet between Paleolithic and ketogenic, perfect for me. I can't do any grains. I can't do any of that. Like grains fuck me up so bad. It fucks me up so bad. Yeah, I can't do it. Right. Eat to live, not live to eat. Like y'all probably saw me the other day, past several days. This big ass thing of vinegar water. Shit fucking tastes nasty. I don't put any honey in it. That's fine. I'm not drinking it to fucking taste good. I can eat things with absolutely no sauce, no nothing, like have it be very, very bland and be like, oh my God, this is so good. I'm not eating to be happy. I'm eating to live healthier. And if you think like, oh, okay, so I'm just going to get like the healthier prepackaged stuff. No, no, that's not going to make you healthier. It's just going to trick your psychology. I remember years ago, one of my kids was like, thank you, mommy, for making all our food. It's so yummy. I can taste the love and this and that. And then the other one was like, why do you cook everything? Because you deserve to taste the love. It's been a very long time that my kids, anytime they like something that I cook, they say the secret ingredient is mommy's love. Love. That's self love. You're worth the investment of time and effort into securing raw food. Nice, Nancy. Nice. Very, very nice. How do you feel? How do you feel with your health? Like, I know for me personally, when I went from, I think it was like a size 18, 16, 18, depending on what it is, because my boobs were so huge. Um, and then in 3 months, I went down to, I went down to a size 2. That really, I wasn't a size 2, I was a 0. I couldn't bring myself to try on a size 0. And I maintained that for several years with no starving, no nothing. And I did not realize how limited my range of motion was. I didn't realize how limiting my belief structures were. All of that, all of that. My body finally felt very alive, like energy was flowing. See, amazing. Yeah. You don't realize how sick you felt until you exit out of that place of feeling sick. I didn't realize how painful my belly was. Ooh, girl, you lost 11 kilograms. How many is that in pounds? Ooh, girl, 24 pounds. And you haven't exercised extra or anything like that, just like changing the way you eat. Has eating for your frequency made you feel more clear, like more capable and more willing of being at peace within yourself? Like a lot of people don't realize this, but the things that you eat can absolutely make you feel frantic inside. A lot of those colorings, additives, yo, they affect your psychology. They affect your psychology. I have a friend, I have a couple of friends actually who, if their child eats anything with coloring in it, any type of unnatural coloring, they can't regulate their behavior. They can't regulate their behavior. They're not being a bad kid. They're not being a bad kid. They cannot regulate their behavior. And your kid is bad? What the fuck are you feeding them? What are you feeding them? Hmm? Oh, but I'm busy. Okay, then don't tell me your kid is bad. The problem is you're too busy. You haven't learned to manage that time. And it's not that, oh, you're just being lazy. It's you need to learn to manage that time, set different priorities. It's hard to do. It's not easy. But if you want to have an easier time parenting, you got to manage that time. You got to make that a priority. Like my kids are affected by what they eat. My kids are absolutely affected by the energies, by all of that. If I'm chaotic inside, I promise you, the more sensitive of my children, like the more sensitive they are to energy, the more they're going to feel that, even with me hiding it, and the more chaotic they become. There you go. That's beautiful. No exercise, but my daughter keeps me on my toes. I feel amazing. Lots of energy. Beautiful. That's very, very beautiful. It's almost like this shift of efficiency from simply just partially digesting and storing it for later to actually metabolizing, actually integrating the nutrition. You'll notice your skin will change. It will change the healthier you become. Around here, if you have a lot of darkness, there's a high potentiality you're eating things you shouldn't have. There's a high potentiality of that. You have a lot of puffiness, there's a high potentiality you're consuming things in ratios that you should not have. Grains create a lot of inflammation for most people. Some of the most heavily manufactured, heavily modified. Yep. So the perception of perfection of your life. The concept of perfection is on its head. Your life is perfect as it is. There's not some ideal that you need to live up to. People who are telling you that are full of shit. Full of shit. In America, they tell you the ideal is to have 2 children, a house with a yard, and a dog. I have no interest in owning a house. Like that's the epitome. Like you've made it. You've arrived if you own your own house. I really don't care. I really don't care. That you're somehow successful if you have a high credit score. Yeah, I really don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Yeah. The only reason I use a credit card at this point is because motherfuckers won't let me rent a car if I don't. Are you fucking serious? He won't let me rent a car. You won't let me pay in advance for a hotel room. Are you fucking for real right now? You need a credit card? Yeah, that's the only reason. Outside of that, yeah, I'm fucking good. I'm so fucking good off that shit. I've never been more happier than when I was completely off the grid. What do I mean by that? A few years ago, we went into an RV spot and I was like, we're going to buy a newer RV because this shit's fucking breaking at this point. And we lived in it full time. So we go there and I give them my driver's license, all of my information, and the guy goes to run my credit. He comes back. He's like, who are you running from? What? Yeah, he was joking around asking me if like I'm running from the law or some shit because I'm a ghost. I promise you, sir, I fucking pay taxes. I promise you I fucking exist. No. They ran all 10 million of my names multiple times different combinations. They had my fucking driver's license. Couldn't find me. Couldn't find me in the system. I've never been more happier in my life. I'm failing if I don't own my home yet. Yeah. That's just some stupid shit. This whole thing of like, you need to have a college degree by a certain age because if not, then you're really not no. I think what made me resonate with Tesla. Thank you, Gaia. I think what really made me not Tesla, Elon Musk. I was watching that video the other day. Remember I was telling you guys, and I didn't know anything about him up until that point. And it was this thing of like he was talking about how he scouts for talent. And he goes, it's a nice thing to have a degree and it can show that you can follow through, but that's not necessary for you to work for him because excuse me, intelligence really is not measured by institutional accomplishments. It's just not. I still to this day take courses that are enrichment, personal enrichment. Yeah. And they're taught by Ivy League colleges, professors in Ivy League colleges. I audit these classes, meaning I'm sitting there and I'm learning the same shit as the students who pay to attend that Ivy League college. But I'm just learning it for myself. I don't need a grade, so I don't need to pay. I don't need to prove to anyone else that I took this program. It's my personal enrichment because I love to fucking learn. You listen to me day in and day out. Do I sound stupid? Do I sound like I'm just full of shit? Do I sound uneducated to you? Or do I appear to have some level of intelligence? Do you look at me, listen to me, and think, oh, she's smart? I don't have a college degree. I don't. I don't have any certificates. I'm not certified in anything. I don't have any initials after my name. I don't. You put me in a legal situation, I will find a legal solution. You put me in a medical situation, I will find a medical solution. You put me in an immigration type situation, I will find an immigration solution. If you put me in a baking type situation, I will find a baking type solution. Just because I'm not traditionally educated does not mean I'm not fucking smart as hell. Just because I have no pieces of paper to show you does not mean I can't keep pace with you as a professional in your field. I'm not trying to like toot my own horn. Not my fault you can hear the horn tooting. I'm joking. I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm so serious. When I hired a lawyer, I retained a lawyer recently for some legal shit. You know how that worked out? She was basically a consultant. And I was making all the legal decisions. She was not presenting me with the options. I was presenting her with the different types of options that I want her to consult with me about if it's accurate, if I have a legal right to utilize that civil statute, that civil law. Like my brother's heart stuff, the whole cardiac team that's like really, really advanced. Even other doctors in other states were telling my brother, like, stick with this team. Whoever's taking care of you, they're taking real good fucking care of you. Yeah. They're like, we don't know what's going on. We've never seen anyone like recover like this. Like he was being considered for an LVAD surgery. They were going to cut his chest open and bypass his left ventricle. They were going to effectively destroy his heart because he was that close to dying. They don't just do that. You have to literally be that close to dying, and they're trying to keep you alive long enough for a heart transplant. That's how serious it was. That's how severe. that cardiac failure was. Now he's over here living. He living. And they keep like, we don't know. We've never seen anyone recover like this. We've never seen anyone recover like this. And I'm over here like, motherfuckers, that is not acute fucking cardiotoxicity leading to cardiomyopathy. That's Takotsubo cardiomyopathy. You don't know what's wrong with him? Why he almost died and now he's like, we think he's gonna be living a while. Takotsubo cardiomyopathy. Broken heart syndrome. Perfect example of how your emotions are so powerful. They affect the reality that you are living through. He never had a heart problem until after our mother died. Never had a heart problem. And they're like, yeah, oh no, I mean, yeah, that would be sad. No. When you're the last person she looks at and you tell her it's okay for her to let go and just die, and then she nods her head and then dies. That's not just being dramatic. That's not just a UTI, Sandra. You're having, low-grade kidney infection. There's a lot of particulates that are trapping and causing additional surface area to exist within your kidneys, and that's allowing for the growth of pathogens. I would switch, and I'm not giving you medical advice personally, I would switch to grapefruit seed extract. It's a broad spectrum antibiotic, antifungal, antiviral, anti all of that. And then I would also look into this homeopathic remedy where you take, it's going to be nasty. You take organic fresh lemons and you take virgin olive oil, and those are the only two components, and that helps to create slipperier 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 surface, and the bacteria can't grow on there. You need to look into, what do you call it, candida overgrowth. I think that's what's happening with you. You don't have the proper gut flora, and your digestion is heavily impacted by your intestinal health. I think you have hyperpermeable bowel, that it's just, and it's become like a cluster of fluff, snowball effect. Um, yeah. So yeah, no, it's it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing for science to help validate what we experience. Your happiness is your own. Your happiness is your own. You can bring it back to you. You can push it away. No, taco subo. Hold on. One of my viewers um, told me about this. Um, and he's been sick for over a year. He's still considered in congestive heart failure. Um, but yeah, I feel like, I feel like he has the capability of fully recovering at some point. We can't rush it because he has to process all that emotion. It has to be processed. You know, if you don't process your emotions, your body will suffer. It will struggle. You have knee pain, you have low back pain, you have neck pain. All of that ties to emotional traumas. All of that. Sandra, hold on. Hold on. Let me get you links for the things that I'm talking about. Uh, and you definitely have to do your own research, okay? I'm not giving medical advice. You have to do your own research. This is one of oh, well damn. Hold on. If you take baths, I would totally um where's the share button? Oh, here. No, I don't want fucking emails. Okay. Oh, here. Here. Here's one. I don't know if this is gonna be enough for you. Here's one. That's an amazing product that I rely on quite a bit. And then, if you take bubble baths, I would totally if you don't take bubble baths, I would start maybe once a week. And again, not giving medical advice, you still have to talk to your doctor about stuff. I would totally put like 30 drops of this in the bathtub, let it run, and then soak in that because I feel like things are getting into your urethra. Um, and then I would totally also these are all my favorite shit. You guys better not buy this out and leave me with nothing. Like, for real. These are, like, my favorite things to do if I'm having issues. And then this one. This one's like a horse pill, though. It's hard to swallow, but it's amazing. It's amazing. So, yeah, I would totally do that. And then, look up, like, the hold on, let me find it. Um, olive oil and lemon juice. But it's for kidney stones, so I don't know if you should do this. If you have, kidney stones, this might not be the best thing to do, okay? Um, so be very careful with this. Very, very, very careful with this. It's a natural remedy. My cousin had kidney stones and she was like fucking in pain trying to pass this kidney stone. And I had her drink that. She was so mad at me, but her kidney stones got flushed out and she was good for a while. So if you do this, there's the potentiality of, you going ahead and dislodging, kidney stones that are nice in their little places in your kidneys. So be careful. Be careful. If you can get a sitz bath, you want to just soak that area, you know. Uva ursi. All right. So, yeah, skin issues not on the face. If you look up the graph that shows you the regions of the body, of your skin that have, what do you call it? The connections to the organs, you'll see which organ system has been overly taxed. Typically, when you have rashes on your skin, that is a specific organ system. It's dependent on where on your body, but that's the organ system that's become overloaded with toxins and it's trying to excrete the toxins as fast as possible. And what's the largest organ in your body? Your skin. So you can excrete it through that and it'll irritate the skin. I'm not a licensed or trained medical physician, professional, none of that. I'm just sharing what I would do. You guys have to do your own research. You have to make sure because although these things are natural, they can very much still have a very devastating um, contraindication with other supplements or prescriptions. Okay. Like people think, oh, grapefruit seed. I mean, grapefruits are freaking natural. Yeah. If you're taking, what do you call it? Blood pressure medications, you could really be endangering yourself. You could literally be endangering yourself. Those are not to mix. Okay. You got to make sure. You got to ask an actual pharmacist. You got to ask your doctors. You got to be safe in what you decide. Just because it says natural does not mean it can't kill you. Okay. Datura is natural. That shit'll kill you. It'll fucking kill you. You know, contraindications exist between supplements and prescriptions. They exist. So be very careful. Um, have faith in your process. Just really have faith in your process. Allow yourself to go through what you need through. Allow your body to guide you. Allow your body to serve as the roadmap that'll bring you back home to your centered heart space. Okay. Um, Sandra, don't just try it. You have to research because you might dislodge kidney stones. Girl, that'll land you in the hospital in the worst pain you've ever experienced. That'll land you in the worst pain you've ever experienced. I feel like you already have calcifications in your kidneys, and that's leaving room for bacteria to hold on to and grow. See, people don't understand that when you take cranberry for UTIs, urinary tract infections, it's not an antibiotic. All it does is interfere with the bacteria's ability to hold on to your bladder wall. When the bacteria builds up within the internal lining of your bladder, that's what allows for a urinary tract infection to occur. When that gets bad enough, it goes up the ureter towards the kidneys, and then you get a kidney infection, which is far fucking worse. Cranberry is not an antibiotic. It's just a disruptor. It doesn't allow for the bacteria to continue to hold on. That's why you have to take cranberry juice and drink a lot of freaking water to flush everything out. Flush it out. If it can't hold on and you're constantly flushing, the likelihood of it being able to grow colonies is diminished. That's how it works. So we have to understand how the body works, how these supplements work for us, all of that. Like I believe GSC, grapefruit seed extract, not grape seed, but grapefruit seed. Those are two different things. GSC, I believe it disrupts the RNA so that the viral, bacterial, fungal can't continue to reproduce. It disrupts it. That's how it works, if I remember right. And that's why it's good shit. That's why it's good shit. So, you just got to make sure um, you guys, figure out for yourselves what's healthy for you, what's not healthy for you, all of that. You have to be very informed in every single decision you make, from natural alternative therapies, holistic therapies, to allopathic, chiropractic, surgical. You have to be well informed. And that's why you have to put some effort into it. Really research, okay? I got to get going, you guys. I have a lot of things I got to do today. You guys take care of yourselves. Protect your happiness. Protect your peace. When the invaders come to try and claim your peace and happiness, fight them to the fucking end. Even if that invader is a distorted version of you. Your thoughts, all of that. I've learned to be more gentle with myself. And when I go into that place where I'm attacking myself, ooh, the conversations that occur. No, bitch. I said, shut the fuck up. We're not listening to you right now because you're fucking idiotic. And I'm not talking to me. I'm talking to that distorted version of me that wants to fit in, that wants to accommodate other people's toxicity. No, bitch, sit the fuck down. Healthy Emmy's taking control. Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, girl, what's going on? Why are you so mad? Are you really mad or just being reactive? Having those conversations with self are healthy. Okay, are healthy. Don't listen to the people who don't understand themselves, their process, and their life. They have nothing to contribute to your life outside of showing you who you do not want to be. And that's it. So let them show you. Let them show you how not to act, who not to be, how not to treat yourself, and then make decisions based on what you want. And if what you want is something that seems unattainable, just know every event in your life is bringing you one step closer to attaining that which you don't believe you can. You're capable of so much more than you actually give yourself credit for. And if you think for some reason I'm so far advanced from you and I've got it figured out, let me tell you this. You would not be sharing this space with me and understanding and resonating with the things that I say, no matter how simple, no matter how profound, if you didn't already possess the capacity, the capability to think outside of the box, to think like the box does not exist. You're just a reflection of me, and I am a reflection of you. Really embrace that truth. If you were not capable of what I am capable of and sharing with you that I've experienced, you would not resonate with me. Stop with a lie if you don't think like me. You're not capable like me. That's a fucking lie. And I'm tired of you lying to my friend. I'm tired of you lying to someone I love. So start being honest with yourself. You're here because you think like me. Not because I'm guiding you, not because I'm leading you, but because someone just like you is existing outside of you. Ain't that some shit? Yeah, we're exactly the same. I just lost my fear of it. Only difference. So stop being afraid of being afraid. Do it even when you're afraid. See, you're not really afraid. You're afraid of being afraid. You have fear of experiencing fear. Do it even if you're afraid. No one ever said you couldn't accomplish things just because you were afraid. Do it anyways. Worst case scenario, you stay exactly where you are. That's worst case scenario. So what do you have to lose by trying, by shifting? What, going back to where you are right now? You already know how to do that. You already know how to exist where you are right now. So the reality of it, you have nothing to lose by spreading your wings. Nothing. Outside of recognizing you can fly. Nothing. Nothing to lose at all. At all. So if you're going to lose something, lose the fear of being afraid. If you're going to lose something, lose the fear of people who didn't accept you to begin with, that fear that they'll reject you. They didn't accept you to begin with. The fact that you feel afraid they'll reject you tells me you already knew on some level they've been judging you silently, like a coward, silently like a coward, judging you, condemning you, looking and waiting for an opportunity to utilize a circumstance involving you to justify their already existing rejection and hatred of you. I mean, if that's the case, did you ever really have them to begin with? No. So then what are you losing? Just the illusion. That's it. That's it. People who get me and love me, I know I'll never lose you. I'll always occupy a part of your heart and your mind. No matter how long you go without coming back here, sharing space with me, I know you carry me with you, no matter what you do, no matter where you go. I know that at some point in your life, you'll experience something and you'll think of me. Not because I control you, but because we're mirrors. We mirror each other. And that's powerful. That's powerful. How could you ever truly feel alone when you know someone exists as a mirror of you? You can't. And here we are, so many mirrors to remind me of where I've been, where I am, where I'm going. That's beautiful. But I wouldn't have that if I didn't choose to find some level of courage enough to override the fear of people seeing me in my most authentic state. There's times I live stream and I'm afraid. There's times I live stream and I'm confused and I feel lost, and that doesn't stop me. Why? Because that's not all I am. I'm not just the moment I'm living in. I'm every single moment that led up to that moment, and every single moment that will come to fruition because of that moment. I am a totality. I am my past, my present, and my potential future, all rolled into one. And so are you. So please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Join me when I'm live. I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye, everyone.